Brothers and sisters, hello all. Welcome back to a very belated episode of the Glover podcast.
We have missed you guys greatly, and we're very excited that we're able to be doing this today. That William is finally in a place of health where he's able to sit and have a conversation.
For those of you who have not been able to keep up with us because we understand that our updates have been very few and far between, I have been in the hospital lately with pancreatitis. It was a very sudden and painful experience that could not have at all been accounted for or prepared for. But I was coming off, we got into Zimbabwe,
Mm-hmm.
and nearly immediately I caught a case of dysentery.
Within the first week of being here, he was teaching classes, and by the end of that first full week here, he was not feeling very well. And so that's kind of how it got started. And it progressed for about two
2 weeks.
weeks.
So you can imagine my health wasn't where it needed to be. And then all of a sudden, after we were eating lunch at a local restaurant not too far away from where we're currently living, I had a sudden extreme pain in my abdomen, and I thought that maybe my appendix had burst. It was just that extreme of pain. And we were very blessed that some very, very kind individuals carried me to the car and then let Emily, because she's not familiar with the roads, let Emily follow them
Mm-hmm.
to the hospital. And then, of course, they took care of most of my admissions when we got there. So they were angels.
They really were. There was a lady that came up to me. I had the girls, and she said, I think your husband is unwell, and you might need to go check on him. And so she was talking about Will, and he was on the path that was up right behind where we were sitting outside, and he had actually passed out. And I found him on the ground, sitting on a rock, and immediately I can tell he is not okay. And I look at him, I say, "Hey, are you okay?" And he said, "No, I need to go to the hospital." And I knew right then something was was not right. And so we immediately jumped into action. And like you said, there were lots of helpful individuals that were angels in disguise, and they just jumped right in. They helped with the girls, they helped me get him to the hospital. We went immediately through admission, and so he was in the treatment area within 15, 20 minutes of this episode. We were there at Mater Dei Hospital, and he was being wheeled in. So,
So I stayed there for the weekend of Easter,
mm-hmm.
actually. So this happened right before Easter Sunday. And so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
You were in the
I
hospital
stayed in the
4 days.
hospital. And then I convinced them to let me go home Sunday because the lack of sleep in the hospital was it was just terrible. I would roam, I would walk the hallways at night. I'm sure I looked like a ghost or a ghoul just walking the hallways at night because I couldn't sleep.
Once you were able,
Yeah, the first 2 days I couldn't even walk
you
around, but
couldn't move.
the second 2 days after everything was finally being addressed and figured out, we're very blessed to have one of the best hospitals in Zimbabwe, not too terribly far from our house, probably 7, 10 minutes.
10 minutes max. Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to do CT scans and ultrasounds, and the doctor who we were very blessed with, Dr. Gwanda is his name, he was able to do a laparoscopy on me. And so
He
we,
did a scope.
yeah, scope.
Yeah.
Laparoscopy?
Mm-mm,
No,
it's not the same. he did a scope, and they looked inside of his stomach, which at the time his stomach and intestines and things had already shut down. They were not functioning. And so they were concerned about organs that had already shut down. So
I'm not a doctor, so I apologize for
he
my
was also
incorrect medical terms.
not able to do much those first couple of days because you were in so much pain.
Oh yeah, I didn't know where I was. I was in so much pain. I really didn't know what was going on. It was to the point where Emily would leave, and then they would do tests and other
I couldn't
medical
stay the
things.
night.
And so when Emily would come back and ask me questions, I didn't know what they had done, what they had given me. And there was one point where Emily was talking about that many of our friends back in the States recommended that we get an ultrasound done on my stomach to check the condition of my liver and to check the condition of my stomach because my stomach wasn't operating correctly. And it was like memories that had been suppressed were coming back to me. And then I realized, Emily, I think that when you weren't here, I had that done. I think that I have a memory of somebody putting jelly on my stomach and then mashing really hard with a wand. Yeah. And so it was...
that whole week was a blur.
It's been an experience.
It has.
That's what we're getting at. It's been an experience.
And then the whole next week, we were back and forth between the house and the hospital every day. Because even though they did agree to let him come home to the house, they said, well, we still need to check kidney functioning. We need to do blood work every day. We need to just make sure that things are staying the way that they need to, just because he would not be on any IV fluids and he has been on a liquid diet. And so trying to make sure that he maintains the right amount of calories and just hydration in general.
But I'm off my liquid diet now. I'm very happy for that. I've been eating chicken these last few days, and chicken's been very nice to me. I've missed some solid food, but I'm doing much better now.
Your fever is finally gone.
Yeah, I don't have a fever. I really don't have much other symptoms other than just being extremely tired and weak, just constantly. I shaved my head finally. I need to take care of all this business down here, but I had, where my hair does grow in, I had
You definitely did.
a lot of hair. And so I took care of that. And so I look much better now. I've lost
Marjorie had
nearly 20
never
pounds.
seen you with hair.
Yeah, that's true.
You've been bald since Marjorie, the baby, had been born. So it had been over a year since he had had any hair. And she did not know what to think at first.
Yeah, she wasn't a fan. But I wasn't either. I just wasn't strong enough to shave my head. But I'm doing much better now. I didn't realize when I was in the hospital, and even after it, I really didn't realize the severity that is pancreatitis. And so a lot of our nurse friends and doctor friends back in the States are very happy that we have decided to come back at the end of May to do a lot of rigorous testing. We're not really sure what caused it. One of my doctors thinks that maybe it was the medication that I was taking for the dysentery that caused this flare up, I guess you could call it. But without really knowing the root, or, we're not really even able to assess currently what kind of damage might have been caused.
They know from the last scan that there is necrosis. So there has been part of the pancreas that is not functioning any longer, but we don't exactly know the extent of that. So they're keeping an eye on that, and we'll just continue to pray. We have seen the Lord work over these last few weeks.
And we have felt prayers.
Yes.
We have felt so many prayers, and we thank you all so much for praying for us. Thank you for helping us with our medical bills. There's been a lot of people reach out to us and assist in that. Medical bills aren't, there's no insurance here. Well, there is, but it's
our insurance is for the states.
our
It's
insurance
not
is
international
Blue
health
Cross of
insurance.
Tennessee. So, but either way, thank you all for reaching out to us and assisting us with your prayers, with your medical knowledge, because obviously
Yes.
we're not extremely knowledgeable when it comes to medicine.
There were so many of you that reached out that let me know what questions to ask, what tests needed to be done, things that I needed to advocate for when he was unable to even answer questions. And so that was very helpful. And we thank you for that, for like leading us to know what to do, because we were just taking it day by day.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for all the elders who reached out to us and prayed for us constantly. I know that we've been on some prayer lists and on many people's minds. So thank you all for being the blessing, for being the partners with us that we so desperately needed during this very difficult time.
I think it's a perfect example of coming together as Christians, because we have felt the prayers all over the world. You guys have been praying all over the world for him, for his health, for our family, for the girls, for our situation, for the work to continue, the doctors taking care of you, just everything. And things have just, we have felt it.
Aside from the medical issues, and I know that I briefly mentioned earlier, but we will be traveling back to the States at the end of May. And so that way, at the beginning of June, and however long it might take, there's going to be lots of hospital visits, tests, and things that are going to be taking place in the States for me. And of course, we're going to get everybody else checked out too. But, you know,
mainly
you. Other than medical issues, things on the ground in Zimbabwe have been going very well. I was actually able to participate as much as I could in a youth event that was held here yesterday. And it was just great to see. We had about 50 or more youth come to the house over here, play games, eat, do devos, beautiful, beautiful singing. And so it's been great to actually get involved, because in the last weeks, we've been able to see things that are happening, just not be able to participate in those things that are happening. And so even though we have been kind of out of it,
on the back burner,
the work is still going. Our teammates are doing great. Of course, they're constantly checking in on me and the girls, but the church plants are doing very well. And it's just great to see and be here and to see God move.
He is moving. They have done lessons for couples, which is basically marriage counseling for the church. And so they've brought in, that's been happening the last few weeks. And so they've been strengthening couples and talking about communication skills, talking about sex, talking about finances, all kinds of different lessons. They'll continue some of those throughout the summer. The Meals for Children is also underway, and so they're doing feedings, and things are going really well for all three church plants at the moment.
Mm-hmm. They've got land, and they're getting their church pavilions all set up, and so it's really great.
And that's exciting.
See. It is, and it's exciting for them because they are involved. You know, it's one thing for Americans just to come in and build somebody a church building, but it's a completely different thing when the people of the local area are building their pavilion. You know, they're digging out the foundation. They're in charge of, you know, reaching out to people and getting, cement, getting bricks, getting things that they are building their own church building. And it creates a sense of ownership that's desperately needed. It's not the American church. It's the Marula Church or the Mbezi Church or Henny Junction Church, wherever these church plants might be. It creates that ownership that they desperately need.
It's Christ Church in those specific communities with those families and individuals. So it's really cool to see that going on.
The girls are doing great. They love being with their friends, and our youngest JoJo, she kind of was walking before we came,
She's
but
cruising around.
she's definitely walking now.
Oh yeah.
She's running. She's running all over the house. Yeah, there's an ottoman, and she stands on top of the ottoman in the middle of the living room, and we don't like it, but that's something that she does.
But she thinks that she can go anywhere now, and she kind of can.
She pretty much can.
She runs after those big sisters, and she can now get to all their stuff, which they don't necessarily love.
Which we don't necessarily love either.
Mm-hmm. They get into a lot of markers and crayons that they're not supposed to. And even when I put them up, it was 2 weeks ago, Lorraine, our middle, she decided that she needed to color in her roots. And I don't know where she found this marker in the house, but it was a permanent hot pink marker. And she colored her whole part. Her whole part from like the top of her head all the way back.
Yeah, she dyed those roots.
She was coloring in her roots, and they were hot pink. Even after a bath, it took 3 or 4 days of scrubbing and several baths for it to finally wear down. But it's something like that all the time.
Kids are kids.
They are. They're fun though.
Yeah. Yeah, yesterday Lorraine got in trouble because they were supposed to be taking a nap, and I came into the bedroom, and she was on top of a chest of drawers, like sitting on top of a chest of drawers, and the chest of drawers comes well up to my chest, and I don't know how she got there. The drawers weren't open.
She can climb anything.
She was just sitting up there.
Mm-hmm.
With a bottle of antibiotic ointment open that she was squirting into her hand.
She's fearless. We just celebrated her 3rd birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So last week we had everybody here at the house, and we had cake and ice cream, and they played, and it was fun.
Yeah, big 3-year-old.
Our tiny little baby. Big 3-year-old. And Isla is such a grown big sister. She's going to be 5 next month, and she's really grown a lot this last year. Even since being here, she's taken on so many responsibilities and really taking care of the other 2. She's done a lot with school too. She's finishing up preschool. So she's fixing to graduate from preschool and be done with that. We've almost survived our first full year of big homeschool. So that's an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So we've got about 2 weeks left.
And then she'll begin kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's hard to believe too.
They grow fast.
They do. People say that, what's the saying? It's the days are long and the years are short. People would tell us that, especially when we first became parents. And it's so true. Y'all were all right. It happens so fast. And our girls are still so little. I can't imagine when they're teenagers or grown how fast it really does feel.
Yeah, let's not talk about it anymore.
All right.
I'm not ready for that. But we're very excited to be able to record again. Mm-hmm. We're very excited to have the strength to record again. but we're also, excited to come back to the States and give you guys more of an update. That while we're in the States, other than doing medical tests and things like that, we're also going to be raising additional funds for our church plants. This time around, we're going big. We've got 3 church plants. And so, along with that, we've got to raise money for wells for each church plant. We've got to raise money for a better pavilion for each church plant. Right now, we just have what are called gum poles, which is basically just a tarred, very small tree trunk and then, a tarp over it. And so, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, still a lot of funds that need to be raised for, these church plants, but also for other projects. One of the things that Emily and I, well, mostly I, we're going to be involved with is our chicken project, starting to raise livestock, chickens, animals over here to be self-sufficient. That's one of the goals, is to not always be fundraising in America, to not be reliant on American funds, but these churches, this NGO, can be self-sufficient. And so, whether or not they need new textbooks for the Bible college, whether or not they need to have some additional funds for any repairs on a well, our hope, our plan is that those funds wouldn't need to be raised in the States one day, that they'll just be able to be, oh, well, let's go over to the farm or the project and get funds from them, so that way we can continue to be self-sufficient in those areas.
Selling X amount of chickens or goats or
Fish or
whatever
project we
making money in that. And it also allows those preachers and teachers to have those skills as well.
Yeah, secular jobs are very hard to come by. A lot of people have what they call piece jobs or part-time jobs, but to have a true occupation is a rarity over here. And so to train ministers and preachers in agriculture, it's something that could be really beneficial for people in the kingdom.
Yes.
And of course, we would also need people to assist us in those projects that grow very large. And so it's an opportunity for them to be employed in that way as well.
So lots of things planning for the future, and we will hopefully know more after some appointments over the summer in the States. And so we'll have kind of a time frame of what all of this will look like for the upcoming future. But we'll keep you guys updated and let you know what that looks like. But these are just some things that are coming down the grapevine.
Before we go, I know a lot of people usually ask, what specifically can we pray for? And so some specific things that you could pray for, of course, my health still needs prayers. Traveling is going to be difficult. That's why they say that pancreatitis is one of the most difficult diseases to get while you're traveling, because you're basically grounded for 4 to 6 weeks. And so, Lord willing, most of my inflammation and swelling will be gone by the 6-week mark, which is a little before we fly out at the end of May. But pray for me that does occur, that inflammation is down, that my pancreas continues to recover, that liver and kidney functions remain at optimal levels. Because when you fly, you bloat. And with an individual who's already having problems with his organs being bloated or swollen, it can be very dangerous. So pray for recovery, but also please pray for our travel. My mom and dad, thank God for them. They're going to be coming to Zimbabwe at the end of May and are going to be assisting us in our travels. I'm not able to pick up or carry anything. And so it's going to be very nice to have someone help Emily with the girls, especially.
Yes.
Uh, our bags aren't really a big deal anymore because we can check all of them. But the girls,
And you. I can't hold 3 girls and push a wheelchair and have bags. And I mean, I guess I could if I had to, but
well,
they will be
Lord
such
willing,
a huge blessing.
I won't need a wheelchair. We'll see when we get to that point. Currently, I wouldn't be able to go through an airport. I would not be able to make it.
Mm-mm.
But maybe by the end of May, that won't be a problem. I'm sure you all can tell that I'm starting to get winded. I'm starting to get tired from a podcast.
It's okay.
But it's just a part of it.
The Lord is our strength. He's provided everything we need each day. We've just been taking it one day at a time. And you've been getting a little bit better one day at a time.
One day at a time. Mm-hmm. Well, we love you all. Thank you all so much for your prayers. Thank you for your messages, for your support. Words cannot express.
You've truly been a blessing. And as we always close out, here am I.
Send me.
Send me. Thanks, guys.
Love you.